Before we begin, please subscribe and like this channel so you never miss a new true story. My son texted me at 2:47 in the afternoon. "Dad, Mum's moving into the house for a while. She needs somewhere to stay, and we've got the space. Hope that's cool." I read those words standing in my office on the 42nd floor of the Peachtree Center in Atlanta, looking out over the city I'd built my career in for the last 38 years. The text wasn't a request. It was a notification. There's a difference, and at 63 years old, I've learned to recognize it. My name is Samuel Washington, and I've spent my entire adult life building something solid. After my divorce from Marcus's mother 15 years ago, a clean break, no drama. We'd simply grown into different people. I'd poured myself into my work. I'm a senior financial advisor, managing portfolios for some of the wealthiest families in Georgia. I own my home in Buckhead outright. I drive a 2019 Mercedes. I take care of my health, my mind, my spirit. I'd done everything right, stayed dignified through my separation, remained cordial with my ex-wife Diana, and watched my son grow into a man I could respect. Or so I thought. 3 years ago, I'd surprised Marcus and his new wife, Jennifer, with a gift, a beautiful Tudor-style home in the Druid Hills neighborhood, fully paid for. I wanted him to have what I'd built, to have security, to have a home that was his own, free and clear, so he could raise his future family without the stress I'd carried. It was an act of love, and I was proud of it. What I didn't know was that this gift would become the instrument of my own betrayal. Within 6 months, Diana, my ex-wife, who'd remarried twice since our divorce and gone through more money than most people see in a lifetime, lost her latest husband and faced financial ruin. Bad investments, poor choices, and a lifestyle she could no longer afford. She reached out to Marcus. Not to me, to Marcus. Told him she had nowhere to go, that she was ashamed to face me, that she needed just a few months to get back on her feet. And my son, God love him, opened the doors of the home I'd given him, without so much as a conversation with me first. I didn't protest. I simply said, "Okay, if that's what you've decided." What followed was 2 years of my ex-wife settling into that house like it was hers. 2 years of Marcus and Jennifer enabling her. She redecorated the guest house, the space I'd imagined would be for my future grandchildren, and made it her permanent residence. She threw dinner parties. She told people when I'd bump into Atlanta society contacts at events that the family was helping her through a transition. She acted like she owned a piece of the place. I watched. I listened. I said nothing, but I was paying attention to something else entirely. During those 2 years, I noticed things, small things, financial things. Marcus had mentioned almost in passing during a Father's Day dinner that his business, a mid-sized commercial real estate firm, was struggling. Jennifer had mentioned, a little too casually, that they were thinking about refinancing the house. And Diana, during one conversation I had with her at a Christmas gathering, let slip that she'd been helping Marcus with some paperwork. Paperwork. That word stuck with me like a hook. I have a reputation in my field. I know how money moves. I know what documents look like when they're signed. I know when people are in financial trouble before they know it themselves. And I started to wonder, had Diana somehow gotten herself added to the deed? Had she influenced Marcus to take out a mortgage against my gift? Had my son, in his desperation to help his mother, leveraged the home I'd given him as collateral? I didn't confront anyone. Instead, I made a quiet phone call to a real estate attorney I knew, someone who owed me a favor from years back. I asked him to run a title search on the Druid Hills property. Cost me $75. What I learned cost me something else entirely, a piece of my heart. My son had refinanced the house. He'd taken out a $600,000 mortgage against it. The bank had approved it because the original deed, the one with my name on it from when I'd purchased it, was still there. My signature still had equity. My reputation, built over 38 years, was backing my son's debt. And buried in the paperwork was a clause, likely added by an incompetent lender or deliberately obscured, that tied the deed to the mortgage. If Marcus defaulted, the bank had the right to seize the asset. He was one bad quarter away from losing the home I'd given him. And me, whether he knew it or not, I was one signature away from being liable for $600,000 of his debt if things went south. Diana didn't know about this. I was certain of it. She was just parasitically comfortable, living off my generosity, without understanding the financial house of cards her presence had enabled. But Jennifer had to know. She'd signed those refinancing documents. She was his wife. There was no way she didn't know what her husband had done. I called Marcus the following Tuesday. Calm voice. No accusation. "Son, how's business?" "Oh, Dad, you know, up and down. Commercial real estate is cyclical." "It is. I was thinking we should have lunch. Just you and me. There's something I want to talk about." He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. He knew something was coming. He'd been waiting for this conversation, probably losing sleep over it. "Sure, Dad." "When?" We met at Bones Restaurant, a steakhouse in Buckhead, where I've been a regular for 20 years. I ordered a scotch. Marcus ordered a beer, and I could see his hand trembled slightly as he reached for the glass. I didn't make small talk. I'm past that at my age. "Son, I had someone look into the title on the Druid Hills house." His face went white. His jaw tightened. And for the first time, I saw my son as he truly was. Not a man, but a scared boy who'd made choices he couldn't take back. "Dad, I can explain." "I'm sure you can. But before you do, let me tell you what happens next. You're going to go home and tell your mother that her visit is over. She has 30 days to find somewhere else to live. You're not going to argue with me on this. You're not going to negotiate. She's going to leave. And she's not going to come back to that house except to pick up her things." "Dad, she has nowhere." "That stopped being my problem the moment she and you decided to make my gift into collateral for your mistakes. That stopped being my problem when you didn't have the decency to tell me what you'd done." He started to speak, but I held up my hand. "Second, you're going to take the mortgage papers to your bank. You're going to tell them that due to changed financial circumstances, you need to restructure the debt, and you're going to sell that house. Sell it." "Dad, no. Listen to me. You're going to sell it, and you're going to do it cleanly. You're going to use the proceeds to pay down the mortgage as much as possible, and the rest you're going to keep." Maybe Jennifer was foolish enough to think this was acceptable, or maybe she didn't care. But that house, the one I bought for you with my own money, free and clear, was supposed to be your foundation, your security. And instead, you've turned it into a liability. What if I can't sell it? I leaned back in my chair, took a sip of my scotch, let the silence sit for a moment. "Then I'm going to contact the bank. I'm going to inform them that any signatures bearing resemblance to my own on that refinance documentation were made without my consent or knowledge. I'm going to suggest that they review the document very carefully. I'm going to imply very clearly that I might pursue fraud claims if they continue to use my name or likeness in their lending practices." "Dad, that's exactly what you should have thought about before you put my name at risk." The color drained from his face. He understood now. I wasn't being vindictive. I was being careful. I was protecting myself, legally and financially, from the consequences of his recklessness. And in doing so, I was giving him a way out. I'm going to pay for your legal consultation with the real estate attorney I know. That's the last money of mine that touches this situation. After that, Marcus, you're on your own. And your mother, she doesn't get to pretend anymore that she didn't create this mess by running away from her own responsibilities and into the arms of her son who was too weak to say no to her. Marcus didn't eat. He sat there, pushing food around his plate, and I could see the weight of his choices settling on him like gravity. When we finished, I paid the bill, because that's what a father does. And I left him sitting in that restaurant. 3 months later, the Druid Hills house sold. Marcus made enough on the sale to pay down the mortgage substantially and walk away with about $80,000. He rented an apartment in Midtown with Jennifer. Diana moved into a senior community in Marietta, where she could afford her lifestyle on the assistance program she qualified for. And me, I went back to my life, my office, my clients, my routines. But something fundamental had shifted. My son called me a month after the house sold. Dad, I want to apologize. I know you do. I was afraid to tell you. I didn't want to disappoint you. And you thought lying to me was better? No, sir. I know it wasn't. Then we move forward. You don't make the same mistake twice. That's how you grow up. He and Jennifer divorced 8 months later. Couldn't overcome the resentment, I suspect. But that's their story to tell. Marcus started his own consulting firm. Smaller, leaner, more honest. And Diana stopped calling me with excuses and apologies. She simply accepted that I'd removed myself from the equation. No anger, no drama. Just a clean boundary. My home remains my own. My money remains mine. And my dignity, the one thing I refuse to negotiate, the one thing I will not allow anyone to purchase or compromise, remains exactly where I left it, untouched and unshaken. I'm 63 years old. I learned a long time ago that the most powerful revenge isn't what you do to someone else. It's what you refuse to do for them. It's the grace you withdraw, the access you deny, the safety you can no longer provide. It's choosing yourself, finally and completely, and watching everyone else adjust to that choice. That's how you win. That's how you endure. True story.